So any adjustments?
There you go. Make sure the ties are tied and the collars are.
I mean, I kept the.
In my opinion, take this for what you will, but whenever you wear shirts like that with no tie, this one should always be undone.
So undo it.
Oh, undone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks
'Cause
weird if you don't have a tie on to have that one like.
what about doing 2 buttons?
That's personal preference. 3 buttons, you're Cuban. If you have a gold chain.
Oh, I needed a chain there.
The chain with the.
My godfather gave me one.
Mm-hmm.
Is your check your mic? Is it flashing a solid green or is it?
It's solid green.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna put this back on just so the mic gets closer. But yeah, dude, my godparent, he gave me a nice. I'm Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
so he gave me a Virgin Mary silver chain, like as a graduation present.
Okay.
And it kind of made me break down because it was a full circle moment. Because remember, I graduated back in December,
Mm-hmm.
so that last semester was one of the hardest semesters of my career.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot going on. I was at my lowest, and I just I prayed. I prayed to be guided through this, not for the issue to be solved, but for me to ensure that it's like I'm still here,
Mm-hmm.
even if I'm going through X, Y, and Z.
That's in my experience. That's the thing about when you pray and whatnot. I have coffee. Is that your issue might be quote unquote resolved, but in a way you wouldn't have wanted or way you wouldn't have expected.
Dude,
But it's all in God's timing, because then you look back, in hindsight, it's always 2020, and you understand why. But in the middle of it or in the thick of it, you don't, and you kind of just wish that certain things would go away.
Man, dude, I fully believe in God. I wasn't a non-believer, but I just never saw like the true meaning of certain things until now. Until me, I mean, for example, we're here right now. One conversation led me to us now, building a relation and potentially working together in the future. I've met some amazing people. I've learned a lot of amazing challenges along the way. And the thing is, bro, is is that like climbing my way to success, it's a little scary because this is all brand new to me, and I don't know what was your experience like or how you dealt with those things, but with this growth, it's amazing, but it's just sometimes I feel a little scared because it's something foreign for me,
Yeah, that's always going to be the case in business. You're going to have your comfort zone. Like you'll get to a point where you're going to make a decent salary, or you'll find a niche, and then for a lot of business owners, that scary transition is when you truly are starting to work on the business and not in the business. I know they say that all the time, but the transition to delegating and then really just focusing on, okay, what's really the revenue producer, what's driving the bus, that's always a scary transition.
Dude, what you have right now is amazing, but how did the beginnings portions of this journey really pan out? What was it like?
Well, I mean, it's kind of the same, one and the same, if you will. Like when I started everything, I mean, I worked as a manager at Whataburger and Pizza Hut. Fun day.
That caught me
So
off
if you're
guard,
talking
man.
about like scary steps, okay, well I worked full-time college with 2 jobs.
Where'd you go?
To University of Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And then to take everything you earn while you're in college and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go start a business. I mean, one, that's also not normally the person's rational, but yeah, and then doing everything yourself. And then there was a point where it's like, okay, if I want to make the most amount of money, and I'm doing cars, right? Well, I got to get people to fix the cars. I got to get people to sell the cars for me. And initially that's very scary because it's like, okay, it feels like you're relinquishing all control.
Right.
But if you really want to, do the numbers and run a business properly, that's what you have to do. So I mean, finding the right people, of course, is key whenever you make that transition, especially as a small business owner, because that first person, um, can be sink or swim. You don't want to hire somebody and then they don't do what you need them to do, and then now you just paid 40 grand a year for someone that's not
Right.
very
What were some of the biggest,
advantageous.
Dylan? What was some of the biggest challenges you've encountered in the beginning, but now that you look at it, it's like, oh, like that was nothing compared to now.
I mean, back then, even just starting the business as a whole, like, seemed like a very intensive process. Like when I was 21 or so, compiling all the documents and everything, and now it's just kind of like a 20-second checklist I could probably knock out whenever, but that's because I've done it multiple times now.
Wow.
So, I mean, everything kind of seems that way until you've done it a couple times. And then once you've done it a couple times, kind of like a cold plunge. You know how much it sucks like the first time you do it?
It does, man.
And then by like the third, fourth, fifth times, it doesn't really have the same scare factor. Like you're willing to just do it, you know what it is, and you knock it out real quick because you know you can, and you know it's arguably good for you. A lot of these things, like in your career and in life, are kind of like that, where if you let that initial fear overcome you, you're just never going to get there. And the reality is, for most people, if you're ambitious, the only thing that's really getting between you and what you want is some sort of an excuse. Now, I know that sounds harsh,
but it's a reality.
But that is the reality. If you start thinking of things like that, like, okay, I want X, whatever it is, okay, how can I get X? And then whenever the speed bumps happen, are you going to view that as an excuse to not take action, or are you going to view it as something in your way that you're going to move out of your way? And are you going to have instead of being like, oh, this is so difficult to accomplish, like, yeah, that's something really hard to do, but how am I going to do it anyways?
Just shifting that mindset right there.
It's somewhat along the lines of, shoot for the stars and you'll land on the moon. Not that bad place to be.
Yeah.
Because I also know from just like a human perspective and a psychological perspective, if you go out and kind of like in sports, you leave it all out on the field. Even if you lose like 4-0 or 4-1 in soccer, like whatever, if you know you gave it your all and you really tried, you trained, there's a psychological aspect to that you're still going to be okay because you gave it your all. And the reality is, if you do that type of stuff, you'll generally be somewhat successful. But if you let the excuses get in the way and you don't really leave it all out on the field, you're always going to look back and be like, well, I could have done this. And then you're going to be one of those coulda, woulda, shoulda people, like
that's not fun.
That's 37. That's like, oh yeah, I could have done that, or, this and that, but they didn't really take the initiative.
Yeah, that's
because they let an excuse get in the way. And and don't get me wrong, there's always a really, really good excuse.
There is. There really is.
I have a 2-year-old son. And I'm single, so there's always a good excuse. I would put it that way.
Single dad.
But you have to start viewing it as the only thing that's going to get in between me and what I want is that excuse. How am I going to do it anyways? It's not going to be easy. I'm going to be the first one to tell you it's not going to be easy. But I promise you, at the end of the day, you'll be a lot more fulfilled when you do it that way.
One of the first fundamental steps that I'm taking is building good systems, because I believe, and I've heard and read from many other people, many other successful people, that in order to tackle this mountain, you gotta just have a good system that works. Don't set goals, but set good systems.
You just walked into it. Have you heard the phrase, you don't rise to the
occasion?
You don't it's really, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your process.
Never heard of that before.
Because if you don't have, to your point, if you don't have the framework in place, like for example, you're not getting up at 6 a.m. to do something like workout, read, something. Just some sort of self-improvement, if you will, goes a long way. That can take up a lot of different forms, just from like cooking yourself breakfast and making sure that you're up early, or working out or reading a book. But do you have some sort of process that you're actually getting up and doing everything? Because if you don't, then yeah, you're never going to accomplish what you want.
And
That's sort of.
and that is very true. I mean, you know, right after I graduated from college, I got my gym membership, started going at 5:30, at least 3 times a day. Sometimes it's more, but at the minimum started at 3 times a week. Now I go 5 days, you
Hmm.
know, but just setting that starting point was able to help me, kind of, set a baseline of where I've come and how far I've, been at this, basically, this journey, my fitness journey.
Hmm.
And from then, it made other aspects of life a little easier, like, getting a little bit more work done, maybe getting my dishes, done that's been piling up, or picking up that water bottle that's been in my nightstand for 3 days. And I'm like, it's time to throw that away.
Hmm.
Or better yet, one of the things I realized is having a clean environment is really like one of the great aspects of having a clean mind.
Yeah, I think you can't underestimate that part. I know everyone's different, but that's very much so a thing with me. I'm not gonna get as much work done in a room that's looks like a bomb went off, because the uh, in what is it? The intrinsic part of me wants to clean it all up first,
Yes.
and then I can do what I need to
Yeah, I
do.
mean, just like this environment right here, it's so, it just gives the energy of, you want to get stuff done, get work done, compared to, your
I mean, I'd
bed.
I'd hope so in a corporate office building, but
Yeah.
but
It's
they
better
got
to,
that part right.
I mean, they should if you're paying, a good amount of money for a corporate office here.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
But yeah, man, it's really great because it's one of those things where I'm starting to see, that little sample of success,
Hmm.
right? But like it's like, whoa, like what is this? And what exactly do I do with it, because
Hmm.
it's something new. So that's why I like talking to, you, John, everybody that I've met, because I'm like, hey, like this happened, what do I do now, or like what happens next?
Hmm.
And what do you think, what do you see that I am doing right?
Um, Reaching out to people like John and the like, just to have a conversation, because I think in your stage of the game, you don't you don't know everything, if you will,
Hmm.
and getting advice or some sort of a roadmap from others who that have already done it, probably the best place to start. Like,
Yeah.
kind of buying people lunch. If you come across someone like John, you're like, hey, I want to do what he does. I want to do commercial real estate, or I want to build multifamilies and sell them.
Hmm.
Well, the best place to start is to go talk to that guy,
Yeah,
right? I mean, sounds pretty straightforward, but
very
I
much.
feel like a lot of people fail to do that.
They have a sense of,
Right? Go ask the guy, hey, I want to do what you do. I'd love to pick your brain. Can I buy you lunch? Most people are gonna say yes. I mean, now some people are really busy and they might be like, dude, I don't have time
it's
for that.
understandable.
But I'd say most, because I'd argue most people also want to help other people in some sort of capacity. If
They
you
do.
if you come to someone with a demand, or if you come to someone and ask for help, you could be wanting to accomplish the same thing, but when you go ask for it as an ask, like, hey, can you help me out? I need your help. You're gonna have a lot more success going at it that way. Um, Especially someone that's young, ambitious, and hungry. You want a lot. Like, you have grand goals. People are going to want to help you as long as you put in the work.
I've seen that.
And
I've seen
that's
that.
kind of the
Yeah,
biggest part, because like, if you, like, for example, if you show up late to this lunch and blah blah blah, or you reschedule,
that's
yeah,
a
that
that's a
then
bad mark.
then that's
Bad
it.
mark
Then
right
that's
there.
it. But you show up 5 minutes early. Hey, you have a book you want me to read? Oh, read this book. And then a week later, you call them and you say, hey, can I discuss? I read the book. There's certain things that they're gonna realize. Okay, like, you're serious. You take yourself serious, and that's I think what a lot of people that are successful look for. Because if you don't take yourself serious and your time serious, I don't want to work with you. But if you do, well, now the framework is there that I can, because I know if you say, hey, I'll be here around 7, you'll be there. Or if you're going to do XYZ, you're likely to follow through, as long as, something catastrophic
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Granted, we're all human and things do happen, but that makes sense, right? Yeah.
And I did. I made sure that whatever happens, I was able to schedule this event and make this commitment that I promised. You know, because one of the things John taught me. He's been my mentor, bro. He's been there whenever back when he was starting out.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was, just barely selling his first property that sold for 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, like you're doing real estate. Like, what are you doing right now? Like he was doing med school and real estate, so it was like the two things at the time that I loved. And from there we networked. But over time, as he progressed, I was like, hey, like how did you get to the next level? Or what's going on? Like what kind of work are you doing? I was so intrigued by it because he kept leveling up so quickly. So from there, it gave me the idea of, oh, like the idea of self-improvement popped in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out and go research self-improvement, and then I found my very first book. I remember reading reviews, summaries, like all the information about it, because at the time I had like very little money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, if this book is it, I'll give it a chance. And the book was Rich Dad Poor Dad by
Oh,
Robert
yeah, that's
Kiyosaki.
like a classic in that sort of realm. Yeah.
And it took me it took me a year to read it because I just didn't like reading books.
Mm-hmm.
But the book that I read, it was so nice. It had a lot of information. I was so intrigued by it that it kept me coming back. But again, my hatred for books just didn't let me read through this in a week.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, with that book, what was your, or I guess, what was your aha moment into, like, hey, like I think I can start something big here. What was that pivotal moment in your life?
Um, when you stop, when you get out of a direct correlation between hours worked and money made, that's the biggest aha moment. When you are able to transition out of that.
And then in your day to day, when was that moment where it all clicked?
Whenever I started delegating the stuff with cars, because if I fixed, if I do everything myself, well, there's only so fast I can fix, repair, and paint cars.
Yeah, because you only
So
have you only have X.
there's a direct time constraint, and it's very. I mean, for that, it's very straightforward. But yeah, hiring those people, that was the aha moment, because that was the scary thing. Well, let's take Dylan. Can you really? Now I gotta pay these people now XYZ. But that was the moment. That was the real aha moment, because when I didn't have to fix it myself, now I could just bid for the cars, have them dropped off, they get fixed and sold, and I don't have to worry about it. And I can go do other things.
Mm-hmm.
I can do some other things that are more important for my time, like finding more clients or finding other business relationships, all of these things. That was the aha moment.
You're
And
not just
then transitioning everything that I did to more along that mindset. Can I build a good process? Can I build a good system for something that just works? Does the accounting and the numbers make sense? And then how risky is this? So I can set it up, and it's not necessarily a time derivative of like I need to put in 20 hours to make 40 grand or something like that.
I see it as, not you're not just paying these people money for their job. You're buying their people's time. That time that they're used to build your company or make your products or grow your business. You're able to save yourself from that aspect and focus on higher level things, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And right now, in the early, before you were able to delegate, What was it like trying to tackle everything by yourself as a one-man army?
Hectic. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things you just have to do. I would argue, especially with business owners, you should not be doing everything because you are not the expert in everything. So you should delegate within reason as quickly as possible.
That's cool because right now, obviously, I'm wholesaling real estate.
Mm-hmm.
It's the entry level to entry level in real estate. So, over the past month, I was able to, network. I ended up networking with somebody that's like a full-time wholesaler.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in the game for ages. We met through a deal. I was trying to wholesale his property, but I was very, I learned to be, very confident and calm about it. And it ended up, from being a bad deal to now I have another mentor, another person to, go to. And he's been helping me, learn, how to be more confident in my work. Because what he told me was basically like, I'm confident, I'm knowledgeable in what I'm saying, but whenever it comes to getting that offer, just like in sales, when it's time to present the package, I fall short, and my confidence would just shoot out the window. But over these past couple of weeks, I've been practicing and just being uncomfortable with submitting the offer. And then yesterday alone, I just I went to the sauna. I cleared my mind extra right. I did a little prayer. I was able to mentally get ready to be at bat,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was able to just not care about what they had to say. I got more confident in it.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like for you? Am I over time?
No, we're good. I was just
All right.
being mine.
Just let me know whenever it's about time to start wrapping this up.
I have a call at 9, so we
That's
still
fine.
have
Just
plenty.
let me
We
know.
have plenty of time.
And if you're down to do this again, that'd be something I'd love to set up.
Sure.
But we'll see what happens. But yeah, dude, in sales, I finally found all the puzzles to being a good salesman.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have to go, out there and practice.
There is a reality like in sales that you have to kind of tell people what to do a little bit. Because
Psychology.
if you're like, say, the expert in whatever, and you're the salesperson, let's just say, at a baseline, you should be very knowledgeable and you should want to do what's best for the person, right? So let's just get that out of the way. Assuming you're definitely trying to do the best thing for this person, that person doesn't know that though. So there's an aspect of education and having good language around being knowledgeable about these things.
Right.
And then there's also an aspect of, well, you need to tell them what to do, because there will be people that are like, oh my god, yes, so where do I sign? But there's going to be some people that it's like, I know that this is in your best interest and you need to do this, so do this and thank me later.
Dude.
And that's a part of being a good salesperson, is knowing what problem are you solving and going out and finding people with that problem. And yeah, there's going to be some people where you're going to have to tell them what to do, and then they're going to come back 6 months, a year later and say, thank you so much, when you do your job correctly.
And that's something
but that's the hardest part in sales.
It really
is someone that you see that you're like, you need this, and they're like,
They throw their defenses up and they try to
deflect. Or depending on the industry, sometimes I joke, it's like, sure, we can. It's like, oh, can we do this in 2 years, Dylan? Yeah, sure, we can do this in 2 years, and I'll just charge you more for less because you waited, and now it's more expensive because you waited. So some problems, it's easier to also solve them now because they're going to get more expensive later. The more you kick that can down the road, the more expensive it gets. You don't want to deal with it now because it's expensive.
Right.
So you're going to deal with it in 2 years when it's 3 times as much. So that's kind of also like the being a good salesperson is being able to articulate that to people and then execute the deal. Because here's the thing. If that kind of train is heading towards,
that brick wall, or whatever.
That brick wall,
right?
Right. And you're trying to stop it before the actual brick wall hits. I promise you, there will be a salesperson when it's hitting the brick wall, and the guy's gonna be like, "I need you," and that guy's gonna be like, "Sounds good, I can do that."
All right, but it's gonna cost you.
It's gonna cost you a lot, and he's he's gonna say, "I gotta do it right now because I waited to the last absolute minute." So
that makes sense, dude. You're a problem solver. You're not a bad person. You're just a problem solver. it's I like to call this, I like to call
You know,
this part of sales
that
tangoing.
that well, that's why I said the first things first. It's like, okay, assuming you're knowledgeable in your field, and assuming you have the intention of integrity of doing what's right for people, then yeah, put the rest together. Now, there's also a lot of people out there in sales, and that's why sometimes it gets a bad rap because you're just selling to sell.
Yeah.
You could be really good at selling and selling people all sorts of crap they don't need, just whatever it is. Um,
I mean, it's psychological nature to buy
yeah,
and consume. You're just feeding into what they're already, used to.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, yeah, this part of, aspect of sales, it's all psychology, and that's one of the things
yeah,
I've been studying up on. In college, I was, respectfully, I would, like bash those psychology majors because I'm like, bro, you're not in STEM, like what's going on? But now, as I pivoted to a different, aspect of the industries, psychology can make or break.
in sales, psychology is way more important than you think because um, I'll put it this way. So you know a little bit about what I do.
Hmm.
If I go to an engineer and I show him a spreadsheet, I just like give him this big Excel spreadsheet
Uh huh.
and I give it to him. He's gonna be happy, right? He'll be, oh, sounds great. If I go to the engineer and I say, hey, do this because it makes you feel good, and this he's gonna tell me to get lost, right?
Yeah.
Not the right personality type.
Mm-mm.
Like, and then flip it around. You go to maybe an interior designer who's all about the feeling and the vibe the room gets, and then you go and you give this interior designer like, hey, here's all the an Excel. That may or may not work, but you have to sell to their personality type and what works with them. Some people go off of how does this make me feel. Some people go off of, well, if not every cent is in order, I'm not going to do it.
No, yeah.
And there's different types of people, and you can be really, really good at what you do from a numbers and an education standpoint and completely miss the mark in sales because you're unable to make that connection with someone at a personal level because I forget exactly. There's like the four different personality types or INFJ. You know what I'm talking about? Like you take those personality
Oh,
types,
yes, yes,
and then
yes.
they're like this person connects with this person, and
Yeah.
there is a lot of legitimate
Data.
parts of that because that is what you're doing with different. You will come across, okay, this person goes more off of feeling. This person goes more off of intuition. This person goes off of more, and you have to meet them where they're at. You're gonna say it's like you're kind of saying the exact same thing, doing the exact same thing,
Hmm.
but you're just tailoring it to that personality type, and that's what's gonna allow you to execute the sale. You
Yeah.
have to be mindful of that because I mean, if you're just one way, let's just call it four personality types.
Right.
You're gonna sell to 25% of the people because you're gonna miss the mark with the other three because it's not resonating with them.
I get it. No, yeah, I heard that thing, the four personality types. I've heard that before. It's not new. I've been researching it.
There's a bunch of different derivatives of it, but the point is the point with all of them that you have to understand the others so you can most effectively communicate, do business, all of these
Hmm.
things.
Here, is it flashing green? Yeah, dude, the calendar was the best thing you told me
Oh
since
yeah.
sliced bread. Like I really took that advice to heart. I'm like, wait, like I'm like, it called, like I called BS on it, but I'm like, I'm gonna try it
Hmm.
just for a week. If I didn't like it, I'm gonna go back to putting all my thoughts in my head because I would mentally have a to do list and I had a really really like great memory. So
Hmm.
nothing
But you
ever.
can't remember everything.
Yeah, and then
That's just the reality
and
of
then
it.
it led to a lot of arguments with my girlfriend. A lot of oh, you forgot this little detail. I'm like,
I
I
didn't
mean,
forget.
I didn't forget, but now that you tell
It
me,
was willful ignorance. There's a difference.
no.
Like my favorite phrase is, man, if a man says he's gonna do something, he's gonna do it. You don't have to remind him every single year.
I mean, that's the fun part is, it's like the fun part is I use my psychology skills, my sales skills to kind of like dance my way out of that situation or that
Mhm.
argument because because like now that I understand psychology a little more, I'm able to use some of the tips and tricks to, get out of that situation. But the other person that may not, be knowledgeable in psychology may not be realizing that, hey, like, this is like the problem and I have the test answer. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Because,
somewhat.
yeah, I mean, sales teaches you how to basically tone to the sellers, or the clients'
Hmm.
tone or attitude. Because I've dealt with a couple of hard to work with clients. Yeah, I may have not gotten the sale, but it kind of taught me, how to navigate through some of the hard sellers. Do
Sure,
you
yeah, I mean,
do you do you get like some of them? Are they common? Are they like rare in your
what?
business? Like difficult clients?
Like, they're everywhere in my
Yeah.
business.
Oh
I
wait.
deal with I
So
deal
my
with
my
people.
bad. It's because I'm seeing it in two ways. Because we have the ones that are not interested, no, or they get offended if you even call them up, and then there's the ones that are just, yeah, they're willing to work with you, but they're rude about it.
Hmm.
So I guess you're right. Yeah, this industry has a lot of rude people, but I just didn't see it that way.
Yeah, I mean, you don't you don't have to work with everybody,
No.
even if everybody could be your client. There's definitely going to be a point where you're going to be like, I don't, your money's not worth it
Yeah.
because
Oh,
you're a problem.
I've seen some people do that. Like there was an attorney that I saw, like, wouldn't take wouldn't take a case because the person, just had an accident, walked to like the attorney's office while the investigation was still being conducted and the cops were still there.
Well, that's, yeah, not
That's like,
not advisable.
yeah,
Probably should
but
probably wait for the police report to be done before you walk off to the attorney's office.
dude, I've seen a
Very
lot.
convenient that it was right there, though. I mean, I wonder where they would have walked to if he
Yeah.
wasn't there. Maybe to Walmart,
talk
bought
about
some things.
talk about perfect timing. you know Man, a lot of, enough marketing and every opportunity ends up being the perfect timing. But I'm not gonna lie to you, with that, I don't really know what I meant with that. I was just like, I ran out of thoughts.
No, but
I ran out of thoughts, and I was trying to like wing something. But no, the art of winging it is like, it's a very like good skill for people like us to use, because isn't everybody just winging their business? Facing a new thing every day to a degree.
I mean, with so the new thing sometimes, but I wouldn't say everybody's just winging it. No, I mean, a lot of people. I mean, you take time and to derive these systems and do things in a methodical way.
But in the beginning, at one
Uh,
point, there was a part where they were
I
like,
mean, sure, everybody. There's some things you do. You always go kind of like off script sometimes,
yeah,
but I would say more like along in a business side. I would argue the opposite, because someone that's just winging it doesn't have a process. They're
oh,
just
okay,
out there
okay, that
doing
makes,
whatever, whenever, and that's not how a successful business is generally ran. Now you can be so talented that it can just happen. Like some people,
or
work three
somebody,
hours a day, and you're just so dang good at it that it works. But
or somebody's so dang good,
hard work always beats talent when talent
right?
doesn't work hard. And luck, I'm a firm believer that luck happens to people that are just consistent. Oh, he got lucky. Well, he was up 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. every single day. He got lucky because he was just right time, right place. But you're
Mm,
not in the right time in the right place if you're not always working and always trying to achieve it.
right. I see. Yeah, I get what you mean for sure. One of the biggest quotes I live by is, I failed more times than you've tried, and that quote really is a part of what I'm trying to do.
Hmm.
Because yes, I'm stumbling, and I don't know everything in the career or industry that I want to go in, but every time I stumble, or every time I face an obstacle, I either learn from it, go around it, or past it, by some way. But there's other people that I try to convince. Some of my, I've had friends, but they haven't grown, so I had to move on. Not because I don't care about them, but I just, I want to chase bigger and better things.
Hmm.
And I try to take some of my friends, but they're just not in the mental. They're just not, I guess they don't want to mentally grow, or they don't want to, do this with me, for whatever reason. But sometimes just sucks.
You can't help people that don't want to
Want to help
help
themselves.
themselves. Yeah, it sounds cliche, but it's very true. Because if you're a glass is half empty type of person all the time, it's hard to work with someone like that because you're always negative. It's not. It kind of goes back to the: are you going to make an excuse or are you going to get it done?
Yeah,
Because it's very easy to just be like, oh well, this happened, well this happened, and if you're like,
excuses, people,
if
excuses.
we're
No, I'm like, yeah, you heard that? Excuses.
yeah, if you're if you're two people trying to accomplish something and you're being negative about it, that makes it a lot harder for me to do anything because I have to deal with your negativity
Yeah, and
and
it gets annoying at
overcome.
some,
Yeah, and it gets very annoying very quick. That it's like, dude, either there is a reality. It's like either you're for me or against me. Like whenever it comes to certain things, because if you're just in my ear saying negative things all the time, yeah,
doubting
you're
me.
against me. Like
Yeah,
you're not helping me
and
out.
they can try to be like, oh, like, no, no,
And
no, like I'm just
we can
joking, but like,
be friends, grab a beer and joke and stuff, but you're not the type of person that I want to grow with in business and grow
yeah,
in as a person either, because I just don't really care too much for that mentality because it's not going to get you anywhere.
no, yeah, I
And it's,
do.
misery loves company. We can all woe is me, and have a million things that we're just going to cry about, but it's not going to get you anywhere.
No, yeah, I completely understand, and that brings me to my next point. Just having a support system, positive and like-minded people, really helps an individual grow like myself, because the people who I have surrounding me are people that are they're businessmen, they're successful, or they have something going on to make encourage me to grow as a person. And I look back at the friend groups that I had before, and I'm like, dog, like, what was I doing before this?
Sure, but that's all about your journey and growing as a person. You don't know everything off the rip. Otherwise, we'd all just be excellent.
No, yeah, I mean that's
Otherwise, we'd
that's
all just be perfect. And what fun would that be as well?
and that's why I'm trying to, I guess, document my journey, not for the freaking clout or the viewers that I'm gonna get, but I just want to record my journey and see how high can I go.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Sure.
one day I'm like up in the sky, and I'm like, wow, like I came so far.
Mm-hmm.
But also you know my community of Hispanics, we're not very financially literate. We're not very set up for this kind of success. So if I'm able to help someone give their first chance to that journey, then I did something right.
Absolutely.
There's like every person became successful was because they either were competitive or they innovated and saw something no one else saw.
Yeah.
I want to be that pioneer. I want to be that that person in that Hispanic community
Mm-hmm.
to be like, wow, like this guy did it all.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I will, and maybe I'll become somebody. I'll become a brand somebody. But if I can just impact the lives of just one person,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a lot more than others. I'm
Yeah.
helping some.
I mean, it starts with one. So.
I don't know I'm not looking into the future of this journey. I'm just enjoying the moment and just adding systems to continue to push me forward.
Mm-hmm.
And if the time comes and the blessings are right, maybe I'll have something grand here, man.
I'm sure you will. Just keep at it.
Maybe, who knows, Dylan? Maybe I'll have something, a conference or something in town. I'll hit up for you. I'm like, hey, I'm having a conference, to my community. It's about growth. Would you like to be the main speaker? And you're like, oh yeah, hell yeah, anything for you. Or
Looking forward to it.
or the day will come when you're at my wedding. When you're at the wedding, and I'm like, hey, like I have a deal for you, but I'm also gonna get married that day. You should come by, not for the business, but for the wedding. And you're like, okay, I got you. Things like that, man.
Hopefully, I get a more than a 1 day heads up for your wedding.
I'll give you. Don't worry, bro. As I learn to become a better person myself, I'll make sure to be mindful of everybody that
You
I've met.
send out a save the date first. You got to get a girlfriend and all that stuff
Nah,
first.
I'll just go back to my roots. I'm gonna cold call everybody that I've ever met.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, hey, dog, you've done business with me before. It'd be an honor if you come to my wedding. We'll celebrate this journey. Just back to my roots, man. I see,
cold
bro.
call people for the wedding invitation.
I really see a bright future in me, and I have a lot of goals that I want to achieve. And I just hope you're able to, see me grow as a person. Just connect me to the right guys, and I'll take care of the ambition, the hunger, the drive.
Well, only you can take care of those.
Well, yeah, that too, man.
Unfortunately, I can't have ambition for you.
Never asked. You see.
Good.
But just provide me the opportunities, and I'd love to see how big I can get this to.
Just keep doing what you're doing.
This journey, man, it's genuinely scary. I'm gonna be honest, man. It's a little scary, but I'm glad I have people like you, John. I can talk to, because I don't know, there's times where I'm like, whoa, like this is new. So it's nice having somebody I can speak to. You probably see it, something in me. I don't know, but it's nice.
The taking yourself seriously part. If you take yourself seriously, I'm willing to talk to you. And that's fine, but not really worth.
Yeah.
Investing my time in it.
No, yeah. I mean, dude,
because everyone has a story. Everyone is at a different place in that story, right? So who are you to say, well, you're just there, get lost? Do you take yourself seriously? Do you take your time seriously? Sure. Let's have a conversation. But that's the baseline.
You're so you've grown a lot since you started, but now that you're at the place that you are now, what are your new goals? What are your new challenges and mountains you want to climb?
Help as many people as I can. And with that, I do have to wrap this up.
And with that, people, the ones that have success, once they make it, they're more than willing to help you back. Dylan, we're gonna help a lot of people.
Looking forward.
I can guarantee that. Thanks again, man.
No problem.
All right, guys, it's been good. I don't know what else to say, but yeah.